more shots than I would have liked. Here's one. Hey, so I had a couple people request that I go over my kayak and blind setup here. So I'm just wrapping up a hunt on a little salt marsh, and this is just a peek of how I would set up my kayak. So I'm running a Old Town Discovery Sportsman 119, and I have a Cabelas Northern Flight kayak layout blind attached to it. With this setup here, you can kind of tell how I have it. That door's a little bit open, but it blends in pretty well. I use a little bit of raffia, and then mostly right now it's covered in just natural marsh grass that I just pulled and stuffed in the little loop straps that come on the kayak blind. And I just fluff up a little bit of the grass around it. Usually it blends in quite well. I typically don't have birds flaring off me or anything, but it's just like a typical layout. It just unrolls onto your kayak. I usually roll it up when I paddle, because the material will drag, and it can be kind of a pain if you try to paddle it that way. So it does have these little buckles. You roll it up and you can paddle with it that way. Alright, so these side panels have buckles on them too, so you can just roll it up. Sometimes this buckle can be a little hard to find, but it's buried in the grass, so you gotta dig a little bit for that one sometimes. Alright, so those are the side panels. I just kind of push them on the inside of the kayak, otherwise they will kind of drag in the water. Back panels roll up too, but the buckles that come on it, I don't know if you guys can see this, but the buckles that come on it are going to be too short if you grass it in. So I don't use these gray ones that come on the blind. I have a bunch of cords and a couple of these longer buckles that I pulled off my boat cover. Makes it a lot easier, that way you don't have to yank and fight with it when it's cold out. All right, and the front panel here, basically the same thing. All right, so that's the kayak all put away, rolled up, and much easier to paddle this way, and you can access your front and back panels. The seat's pretty comfortable. It's kind of like a hammock seat. It attaches onto this little bar here and back there, and it just kind of suspends a little bit. It's fairly comfortable. I hunt all day sometimes, and I don't find myself too uncomfortable with it. So the blind is actually made for the H10s, H12s, the Ascend, Cabelas brand kayaks, but it fits perfect on this Old Town kayak. And the advantage of the Old Town, I believe, is it paddles easier. I've never paddled the Ascend kayak, but from what I've heard other people say, it's kind of like paddling a bathtub around or something. So if you have a dog, that might be a better option for you because it's a little more stable. This is kind of like the hull of a canoe, so it paddles easier. And where you're sitting low in the kayak, it's stable. But if you had a dog wiggling around in the back, it might be a little tippy, and the dog getting in and out especially. So if you hunt, without a dog, and you like to hunt spots you got to paddle a ways, I'd say this is a good setup for you. I'd recommend it. I think you'd probably like it. I've done better this year than previous years because I've been able to hunt parts of the same areas closer to where the ducks want to be, because I don't have to figure out my hide as much. So anyway, there you go, guys.